Yes.
If I was financially preparing myself, if I go upward, I could go less fortunate. And obviously, that's going to make me feel a lot worse about the truth than if I compare myself to another student.
Everything is subjective.
Yeah,
so accuracy is accuracy, okay? Yeah, it's subjective accuracy.
Doesn't it just nest in all the other ones? Why is it, I guess the question is, why is it its own thing?
Well, different things predict these things. They are different, but it's all a relative thing. It's not some accuracy in some absolute truth kind of sense. But when you're focused on seeking the truth, I'm trying to think of an example of a moderator. Certainty keeps coming to mind, but I'm not able to make a linkage there. Different things influence you when you're seeking the truth or just when you're seeking to enhance yourself, so they are not the same thing. But that doesn't mean that your perceptions of information out there or how well you're doing compared to someone else is accurate in some objective outside person's perspective. Nothing that we talk about in this class implies that. Because as we laid out at the beginning of the semester, and what gestalt psychology, that term that you had to learn for the first exam, is all about is that the social world is in the eye of the perceiver. And we make assumptions that a lot of the time we see situations in similar ways, but not necessarily. Okay, it's all about construals, right? So yeah, it's subjective truth. Yeah?
I'm wondering, for that example, Warren Buffett, the extremes, like when I compare myself to Warren Buffett, I feel nothing because he's like extreme.
Right.
So it has to be to some degree similar to ourselves for that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, so what she's saying is that if you compare yourself with, now you're making an upward comparison, Warren Buffett, the comparison target or the comparison exemplar or person that you're comparing yourself to can be so extreme as to be non-diagnostic. Okay, that's not going to serve your accuracy motives, right? I mean, that's the idea. It's, if you're trying to assess your soccer skills, you're not going to, compare yourself to Mia Hamm because it's probably not going to be very diagnostic. There's many different ways in which the extremity of your comparison targets makes a difference. That's just one of them. So if you have intuitions about that, please, feel free to raise your hand and we can talk more about that. Okay? Okay. Improvement. As we're maybe already getting at or hinting at already, when you're improvement motivated, your focus is not on getting information on where you are. It's about where you can be, where you can go. And it's not about just feeling good about the self because that's not going to help you improve. You want to know what you need to do to improve. And so you're going to be focused on, when trying to evaluate yourself, you're going to be focused on seeking information and putting yourself in situations that are relevant to, that speak to, that might help ideal visions of yourself, who you hope and wish to be. And when it comes to comparisons, social comparisons, you're going to look upward. You're not going to compare yourself to someone worse off than you or worse at a skill than you are. You're going to look to somebody like Mia Hamm or the person who's number one on your soccer team, someone who can tell you what you need to do to be as good as they are. So upward social comparisons, a lot of the work on self-improvement actually focuses on role models, upward comparison targets, possible selves, thinking about the self you could be, you're striving to be. Okay, and there's a lot of work on this. I don't have time to go into it that much. And it is true that self-improvement has not been studied as much as self-enhancement or accuracy motives. But it is nonetheless a motive that at times will lead us to actually be disinclined to look at downward or similar targets to compare ourselves to and look upward instead and not find it threatening when we have a self-improvement perspective. Yeah?
I'm just wondering, so is this the most common way that people think? Or is it like by age, like when you're in middle school and high school, you typically like take reflection something that's not like the glory of others, but more like reflecting on everything that they've done better than you? Is it self-esteem theory?
Okay, so that's really the question. If there are sort of broad developmental differences in self-esteem and therefore in the self-evaluative tendencies we show, if you guys know better, okay, there's data on this. Rick Robbins and Callie Trusnewski, I'm not sure I'm saying her last name right, they are UC Davis social personality researchers who've published a lot, and also very recently I noticed there was an article, and they track people's self-esteem over time, like through adolescent adult development. I know that there are gender differences, for example, that girls' self-esteem precipitously drops in adolescence, whereas boys' self-esteem does not. I want to say self-esteem strivings may level off with older age, but I'm not sure of that. The reason I think that is because I am sure that there's data suggesting that when people get older, they focus less on themselves and more on their relationships and social-emotional types of goals, which seems to be consistent with not focusing as much on the self. They focus less on instrumental goals, ways to get ahead, again, not so much on the self. So there are definitely broad adult development type trends in self-esteem and therefore in self-evaluative motives. I'm not sure of them, though. Okay? But I can say that self-enhancement, though I try to downplay it a little bit, it is very robust. Okay? It's robust probably at all ages, and it's just a matter of degree. Okay? And it's robust particularly in this culture, which we'll come back to in a moment. Okay? Other questions? Yeah. Yeah.
I always felt that when you're talking to someone and telling their issues, you're trying to make them feel better by trying to relate to them, giving them worse stories that you've been in, so that they can feel better about the situation. Could that be related to this?
Well, it would suggest, you're saying that when they're talking to somebody else, they're conveying their situation as worse off?
Yeah, typically, because you want to make your friend feel better about the breakup. You tell her, like, oh, I've been going through that, and that really sucked. You try to make your current situation, if your friend's happy, you try to make it worse.
Yeah, that's interesting. I get that intuition. I get that in everyday life. I'm just trying to think of whether there's data showing that. That's lovely, and we do that for close others particularly. And it seems like in a support context, you would certainly want to do that. It seems like in a support group context, you wouldn't want to one-up people. Like, haha, I don't have that symptom. I got more hair than you or something. But I don't know about data on that. But to the extent that that's true, that's what some of that data could be reflecting, right? Because if the majority were downward comparisons, that could be driven in part by people you talk to deliberately making themselves seem worse off, is what you're saying. Yeah, I think that's really interesting, and it's clearly something we do for people we care about. Yeah, but I can't off the top of my head think about research study or anything that has looked at that explicitly. Other questions? Okay, the last motive I want to talk to, and we are, of course, going to go fall behind Shay, which is fine. This is a theory about a self-evaluative motive that we have for consistency. And it's important to listen to this one because consistency is something we're going to dive quite a lot into, this desire we have to be consistent in our next lecture. The idea here is that sometimes we're not about the truth, we're not about feeling good about ourselves, we're not about improving ourselves, we're about wanting to feel like how we see ourselves is validated by other people, that others see us as we ourselves see us. So when we have this motivation to get feedback that's consistent with our own self-views, we're going to seek out feedback that says, oh, yeah, you are that. Okay, I think that I'm shy. I'm going to be seeking out information or acting in ways to ensure that others see me in this way consistent with how I see myself. The theory that's associated with this motive is called self-verification theory, this idea that at times we're motivated to get others out there in the world to verify our pre-existing self-conceptions. Okay, you want to be known. Really, that's what it's about. Wanting other people to know you, warts and all. So this is important. This is the thing that sets this theory apart from self-enhancement. This theory maintains that you want others to see you, even in negative ways, if that's how you see yourself. If we're talking about a positive you, I think I'm super cool, and self-verification, that would say I want you to think I'm super cool, but self-enhancement would also say I want you to see me as super cool. That doesn't really tell us much. Is it self-enhancement? Is it self-verification? We don't know. But if I have the view of myself that I'm super dorky, and I'm motivated to get verification of that view, I would actually be seeking out appraisals from you, feedback from you, that tell me that you also see me as super dorky, which seems counterintuitive from a self-enhancing perspective, but there's an enormous amount of evidence suggesting that at times we do seek this kind of self-verifying information. Is this weird to you guys? I'm curious. Yes to Alex. Anyone else? This is not weird to some of you. Yes, I would have, but I'll give you more. Yeah.
So I want you to, if somebody's depressed and you don't deny that, people get pieces. Like, come on, I'm depressed.
Yeah, I'm depressed. That's how I see myself. I'm depressed, and you're like, oh, yeah, you're pretty happy. How irritating is that? Okay, but it's more than irritating. Okay, it's irritating. It's not good for your friendship, first of all. But it's also undermining, ding, 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 again, of prediction and control. For heaven's sake, if I don't know who I am, I know I'm depressed. And you're saying to me I'm not depressed? That freaks me out because I think that I know I'm depressed. I think I understand of all things in this world myself, and the world is not verifying my self-conception. Just as I would freak out if you said to me this chair is not blue, and you said, hey, that's a nice red chair. What? Excuse me? Okay, imagine like I'm super dorky. That's how I see myself. Okay, that's truly my self-view. And we have chronic, deeply held self-views. And indeed, the more certain you are of a self-view, the more self-defining it is. Okay, the more I want you out there in the world to verify that self-view, even if it doesn't make me look very favorable. Because to say that that's red instead of blue, to say that I'm cool instead of dorky, that's really startling. That is really undermining of my sense, and I know and understand the world, including myself. Get it now? A little bit better? You're laughing, but a little bit better? Okay, well, others get the red blue. Yeah? All right. Okay, yeah, Judy. No offense, Alex. Yeah. Isn't this problematic? If you're someone who has a negative self-view, like you feel like you don't deserve self-love, you have low self-esteem. Indeed, it's problematic. Because this motive means you're out there seeking information that verifies your low self-regard views of yourself. And that's what Bill Swan is the researcher who came up with self-verification theory. And he's shown that this motive perpetuates low self-esteem, people's low self-esteem, self-views. It is a cycle that is very hard to get out of because you get something out of getting that verification, even though it's bad to have low self-esteem. But the good part is at least you're getting your views validated. There's something that's gained there as well. Okay, so you have to let that go in order to change your views, and that's hard. We like to stick with what we know. It's very hard to change our self-views. Exactly. Now you get it even more? Yeah.
What is difficult when you're actually trying to seek out information? So I think, for example, I have a very ugly boss, and then I just want to go seek out, kind of like, ask people to not validate. I'm seeking information that is not validating what I think about myself, just to be myself. Like,
that's self-enhancement.
That's
self-enhancement. Yeah, which is more intuitive to us. Like you might, ask people loaded questions to get them to say, that you actually look pretty good in that outfit, or that you are actually kind of cool. We do that all the time. Yeah, but we also do the opposite, which is less intuitive, but is nonetheless, you can imagine, for things that you're really sure of and are really self-defining. It's who you are. Okay, it would be really troubling if somebody didn't verify that. And there's other interesting things. You really want close others to verify you. Who cares if the guy in the subway doesn't verify your self-view, even though it's important? But if your boyfriend doesn't see you as you see yourself, that doesn't feel so good, even if it's a self-view that isn't particularly favorable. Okay, does that make sense to you? It feels like you're not known by somebody who ought to know you. You with me? Yeah.
Here's other relationship between consistency and improvement.
Okay.
Which one seems to be more so trying to improve yourself or trying to improve?
It depends. It depends on the person. There's going to be personality, individual differences. There's going to be times in life, like self-improvement may be really salient to you when you're, just start a job and you really want to move up the career ladder. It depends. There's situational and personality differences and this kind of thing. On that note, actually, I just want to briefly mention that there was maybe a decade ago quite an active debate in the literature about whether there are cross-cultural differences in these different motives, particularly in the degree of self-enhancement. On the one side was the camp that gave us interdependent and independent self-controls, and who really wanted to argue that us Westerners, we love self-esteem, and we love it a lot more than collectivistic, interdependent folks do. Okay, that the independent self is a self that wants to stick out from others, be unique, but not be negatively unique. We want to be positively unique. Okay, we want to get that star. We want to stick out. We want to be number one. Whereas those in more interdependent societies, the focus is not about sticking out. It's about harmony, and it's about maintaining that harmony. And if anything, the focus is going to be more on self-improvement, making sure that one is always improving itself to maintain healthy relations with other people. That is one side, okay, of the debate. The other side of the debate, okay, is people who argue you all need to calm down. Okay, self-regard, wanting to feel good about yourself, is pretty universal. It's just the domains in which people want to feel good about themselves differ culturally. Okay, here in America, we want to be thought of as independent, as strong, as assertive, as powerful, whatever. And East Asian societies, they also want to enhance themselves, but they want to enhance themselves in more social domains. I'm very caring, I'm very loyal, I'm very trustworthy, other kinds of domains. So it's not that self-enhancement is different, it's what you self-enhance and what dimensions you self-enhance. I cannot keep up with this literature. It's just annoying. It's just too much, blah, blah, blah. I lean probably more toward the former side. I think there are certain differences. And so it's a little bit like the attributional cultural difference where there is some evidence for universality. East Asians, interdependent selves, also commit the fundamental attribution error, but maybe they're a little bit more sensitive to situational factors and therefore don't commit it as often or as in many situations. So I think there's self-enhancement across the world, but maybe there's slight differences in degree and maybe in domain. Okay, this debate is still going on. It's lost most of our attention, but it's still going on by those who care. Okay, hold on. Okay, we will talk about self-regulation on Wednesday.